Welcome back to Behavior Change Basics. In this course, we've been working through a 12-step process for creating a social marketing program. We are on stage 1 of the process, and we have completed steps 1 and 2. Now we're on step 3, assembling a co-creation team. In this video, we'll cover how to assemble co-creation partners to help in the development of your program. First off, let's talk about what co-creation is. Co-creation occurs when you enlist the assistance of relevant stakeholders to help you in designing your product or service. These stakeholders collaboratively guide the decision-making process. Stakeholders are those who are affected by or involved with the issue that's at the core of your program. The reason we look to co-creation is so that we can be doing with and not to a target audience. We don't want to be external observers deciding what's best for someone else. Rather, we want to engage those whom it will affect the most in helping to design a program that can benefit them in the end. When we think about co-creation, it's important to consider the entire ecosystem that the program's going to be situated in. There are various levels to consider in the service ecosystem. There's the downstream audience. This is the micro level, the midstream or meso level audience, and the upstream or macro level audience. We will talk briefly about each one of these. First, we consider the downstream audience. That is your target market. These are the individuals who are going to be directly involved with your program and performing the desired behavior. Or, if you're looking for behavior cessation, this is the group whose behavior you're trying to modify and change or eliminate. Then we have the midstream audience. This is the immediate community that will need to be involved with the behavior change program that you're planning. Oftentimes, this involves local organizations. These might be volunteer groups, not-for-profit organizations or local government agencies. It could even be local businesses, schools, or universities. And finally, we consider the upstream audience. These are the higher-level groups and individuals who may have an impact on decision-making and execution for your program. Upstream issues include societal norms, as well as laws and regulations that affect the behavior you are focusing on. Relevant upstream stakeholders could be government representatives who make and enforce the relevant laws. Next, let's talk a little bit about assembling a co-creation team. When you're assembling your co-creation team, you want to be sure to include individuals from various parts of the ecosystem, upstream, midstream, and downstream, if you possibly can. Sometimes we're not able to engage those, particularly from further upstream, but it is important to take a look at the environment and see who might be relevant that you can engage who has helpful insights for you. Really think that through to determine who you might be able to invite to the team. Then let's consider, how do you form this team? You need to identify key contacts, and then you'll need to try to form some relationships in order to encourage people to get involved with your program. You may be able to develop partnerships with other organizations or other agencies who are also interested in the topic area you're focusing on. And probably you'll want to conduct some preliminary research to really find out who the issue impacts, so you know who to include on your team. Co-creation is an incredibly valuable tool. When you're designing a program, it helps you to form intentional partnerships, not just partnering with the first organization that comes to mind or whoever's willing, but rather really thinking through who the best partners for the particular topic area would be. Co-creation allows you to take a broader perspective. We all come to any type of a problem or issue with some preconceived notions. When we co-create, we're able to get a broader perspective on the issue so that we can consider it from lots of different vantage points. In this way, you can develop shared ideas, and you can get some really valuable feedback. The ideas you come up with on your own may have some flaws that you would miss if it wasn't for others taking a different perspective and providing that feedback to you. Also, very importantly, co-creation helps you to gain buy-in for your program. If you're looking to encourage people to change their behavior, it's important that they buy into the approach that you want to take to help them get there. So what can we do to make our co-creation team as effective as possible? Well, first, everyone must feel comfortable sharing their views. If there's an evident imbalance of power, and some people feel uncomfortable in the situation, it's going to be difficult to get them to openly share. Everyone needs to be welcome, so you need to create a space of equal partnership where everyone on the team understands that all viewpoints are important, and all viewpoints must be equally heard and respected. We want to try to eliminate power differentials. So how do we do that? Well, here's where some operational considerations need to come into play. First off, think about your meeting space. You need to choose a neutral space. Don't meet in your own office or the office of a particular stakeholder, because then other stakeholders might feel that they're in a lesser role or position. Think about the meeting structure as well. You should be listening far more than you're talking in these meetings, and you should also be helping to guide other participants to listen as well when it's appropriate, so that everyone has an opportunity to share. A good way to make this happen is to start out with meeting ground rules. These can help to foster a sense of safety and respect. In your ground rules, you stress the importance of listening to all opinions and valuing diverse viewpoints. Now let's turn back to the road crew example that we've been following and consider how they used co-creation in their program development process. There were a number of co-creation participants in the road crew program planning process. First of all, they involved the target audience. They also involved bar owners and staff and law enforcement, as well as local elected officials and healthcare representatives, because all of these groups are impacted by the incidents of drunk driving and road accidents due to drunk driving. Importantly, road crew developed two different co-creation groups. One was a community coalition that included all of the co-creation partners. This group met less frequently than the second group. The second group was an advisory group made up of their specific target audience. This group met more frequently because they got involved in the nuts and bolts of the creation process. Both groups, however, were very important to the overall creation of the road crew plan, because it was essential that all of the stakeholder groups listed were able to voice their concerns and offer suggestions on how to make a successful program that would reduce the incidence of drunk driving and drunk driving fatalities. Road crew wanted to make this planning process as effective as possible, and to do that, everyone needed to feel comfortable. So, the advisory group, which consisted of the target audience, was convened not in a meeting room, but rather in the back room of a local bar, so that the target audience would feel really comfortable in hanging out and sharing their opinions openly. That turned out to be a very effective recipe to encourage sharing from that group. So let's recap these notions of co-creation. Co-creation is about convening a group of key stakeholders to co-create your program. It's important that you help all participants feel welcome and comfortable when you're convening the groups. You need to treat all perspectives as important and valid, and one should not be seen as more important than another. If you do this, you'll be more likely to gain honest and insightful suggestions from your stakeholders, and that will help you to develop a more effective program. Road crew had an advisory group of their target audience and a larger co-creation group. Together, these individuals helped to plan a very successful program. Thank you very much. And please join the next video where we'll talk about selecting your target audience.